between A and B, there are these, I'm going to call them cousin letters. And that's not a real musical term, by the way. But these cousin letters, as I'm describing them, they actually bear the name of all of the letters that I just mentioned, A, B, C, D, all that stuff. But these cousin letters can take on different properties or different qualities. For instance, there's a note out there called C sharp. There's a note out there called D flat. There's a note out there called G sharp. So they actually exist between those letter groupings I just gave you a second ago. And the groupings were A and D, and then D and E, F and G, G and A and B. The point is there are these other instances out there that will give us a total of 12 major scales. All right, I am going to stop right there because if you are new to this, I just gave you a brain freeze without the slushy. But if you stick with me, I promise this will all come into focus. And I want to do a quick recap here in just a second, just to go over what we've learned so that you don't walk away feeling confused about our topic today on major scales. And that will come in our tip section. And today's tips, they are brought to you by Swim, Success with Music, this podcast. Again, this podcast is all about giving you musicians a forum for learning. In this case, we're talking about music theory. In previous episodes, we talked about music marketing, songwriting, the whole 9 yards. So what we're asking for is that you simply subscribe to the podcast, share with your music friends. If you're a teacher, share with your students. If you're a music lover, post some of our stuff on your page. We would like for you to be involved with us. But the big thing is I also want you to send in your music to the show if you would like to be featured in an upcoming podcast. You can do that by sending your music links, no attachments, please, music links to ask@successwithmusic.com. ask@successwithmusic.com. And if you make the cut, we will feature your music like we featured the music of Cheyenne Rose. All right, so let's go ahead and get into those tips for today. And the tips today is just a recap of what we learned. Here's the first thing. There are 12 major scales out there. Next, a major scale consists of 7 notes. The only note that will repeat in a scale is the first and the last note of the scale. The distance between these two notes, it's 8 spaces. We call that an octave. And finally, we also learned that the musical alphabet consists of 7 letters: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We also learned that each of these letters can have what I call cousin letters. And this will give us more options for creating major scales. For instance, we talked about C sharp. We talked about D flat. We talked about G sharp. There are others. But the point is, we are able to create far more major scales than just the 7 letters outlined. All right, guys, I think we've done enough for today. Let's close out our show today with a bit more music from Cheyenne Rose. If you can, go ahead and check her out online. You can find her on Facebook at Cheyenne Rose Music. Check it out and check us next week.
We go back again. Those were the nights I'll remember for the rest of my life. Being together, creating bonds that would never be shaken.